Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, it's been just over 2 weeks since the Act 8 mini Crucible dropped, and I've been loving it. Now, this content is awesome for two big reasons. First, it's basically a mini version of the real Crucible. Same bosses and similar nodes, which makes it perfect for planning your fights before you head into the real one. And second, if you're a smaller progression player, this is your chance to face Act 8 bosses early and get some valuable practice. Now, in this video, I'll be taking on two of the Act 8 bosses, Scytalis and Bahamet, on PC. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, Mcoc is available on PC, so if you want to check it out, you can go and download it from Steam. And if you're someone who doesn't have any idea on how to fight these bosses, don't worry, I'll be breaking it all down along the way. So let's jump right in. So first, I'll be taking down Scytalis. Now, if you're a new player, or maybe just someone who wants to quickly refresh how she works, let me explain her mechanics real quick. By the way, it's the same whether you fight her in Act 8 or in Crucible. So the main idea is pretty simple. Scytalis will place a trap when using her special 1 or special 2. Now, after she uses her special, wait for a few seconds for her to activate her trap. Now, how do you know that she activated her trap? Well, if you look closely, she'll start a timer after she used her special attack, and when this timer goes from green to orange, she'll activate her trap. So once she activates her trap, now you can use your heavy attack or your special attack to push her into her trap. Now, once she is trapped, Scytalis is stunned for 7 seconds, loses the effects of corrupted armor for 15 seconds, and then you'll gain an indefinite prowess passive, increasing special attack damage by 10%. Now keep in mind that this is something that you have to repeat again and again until you take her down. The important thing here is that she only takes real damage while she's trapped and when her corrupted armor is down. If you just hit her normally, her corrupted armor reduces your damage by 85%. So push her into her trap and attack while she's stuck. Now what if you steps over her trap? Well, if you do, Scytalis has a 100% chance to inflict a root passive for 4.5 seconds and she'll gain an unblockable passive for 4.5 seconds. So when fighting her, you should be careful not to step into the trap. But if you are rooted in a trap, activating a special attack breaks the rooted effect and it'll grant you an indefinite prowess passive. One other thing that you should keep in mind is that try to avoid ending combo with medium attacks. If you do, Scytalis has a 100% chance to evade. Now let's talk about the different phases that she has. Scytalis has 4 phases, and each phase is determined by the amount of health Scytalis has. Now, if her health is between 100% to 81%, she is in her phase 1. She will be in her phase 2 if she has her health between 80% to 41%. If she has her health between 40% to 6%, she will be in her phase 3. And finally, she will be in her phase 4 if she has her health below 5%. Let's break down each of her phases. When she is in her phase 1, push her to SP1 and let her set a trap. Now in phase 1, she'll only set a trap when she throws a SP1, and in phase 1, trap will arm in 1.5 seconds, wait till it is activated, then use parry heavy to push her into the trap, and do damage while she's trapped. Now I'll talk more about other phases while I go through the fight. So she is finally down to the 80%, now she'll be going to the second phase. But if you look closely, she started a timer. This is something that you'll see when switching between phases. Now when this timer is active, she'll be passive, so you have to wait until this runs out. Now let's break down the second phase. So when you are in the phase 2, push her to SP2 so that she sets a trap. Now in this phase, trap activates in 3.5 seconds, so wait until then before pushing her into the trap. And just like before, use heavies or specials to push her in. Finally, repeat until she drops below 40%. And now she's down to the third phase. So let's break it down. So like I said, phase 3 is between 40% to 6% health, and in this phase, we are back to the SP1 traps. Also, in this phase, trap will activate in 5.5 seconds, and just like before, push her into the trap with heavy attacks or specials. Now, one thing to remember before going for the final phase is to build up prowess, because you'll be needing it to break her armor. So, finally, she is into her last and final phase. For this phase, she gains 100% damage reduction from the corrupted armor. And, like before, you can't break her armor by pushing her into the trap. So, in this phase, you need to build up prowess and throw specials to reduce her armor by 10%. But each time you use special, it will consume 1 prowess. So, you'll need at least 8 to 10 prowess to break her armor and deal damage. Also, mutant champs can be a good option since they generate prowess naturally. Finally, one thing to note is that she has a 100% chance to evade heavy attacks even while stunned, so be careful with the heavy attacks. And she's down. This is not a difficult fight. To be honest, she's one of the easiest bosses in Act 8 compared to the other 3. So, next I'll be going against Bahamet, but before I jump into it, I'll quickly explain how to fight him. Now, before I explain how you can fight him, you need to understand 3 main things. First, his corrupted armor. This reduces damage from all sources by 85%, so if you want to deal any serious damage, you have to break this armor. Second, the volatility charges. He gains one of these when you stay close to Bahamet, so you'll want to keep that in mind. Third, the removal charge. This is the one thing you absolutely need in order to break his corrupted armor. One thing to note here is that you'll have to perform different actions in each phase of the fight to actually remove that armor, and I'll explain those as we go along. Now that you know the things you should keep an eye on, let's talk about how the fight works. Here, the main focus is to break his corrupted armor. To break his armor, first you have to build 3 volatility charges by staying close to him. Now, one thing to note is that he gains a charge for every 8 seconds, so if you stay close to him when this timer ends, he'll gain a charge. Now, if you are away from him when this ends, he'll gain an X gamma charges. When this reaches 3, he'll gain a gamma reactor passive and inflicts an incinerate debuff on you. So, this is something that you don't want him to have. Once he gains 3 volatility charges, bait his special one, and at the end of the special one, he'll release a radiation blast. Now, throw your special into that radiation blast to gain a removal charge. And once you get the removal charge, you can break his corrupted armor by performing various actions in each phase. Now, one thing to remember is that this is something that you have to repeat in each phase. Now, one important thing to note is that if you use the same special twice in a row, Bahamet has a 100% chance to auto block the incoming special attack. so you have to keep alternating between your special attacks to avoid the chance of auto block. Now let's talk about the different phases that he has. Similar to Scytalis, Bahamet also has 4 phases, and each phase is again determined by the amount of health he has. Now if his health is between 100% to 81%, he is in his phase 1. He will be in his phase 2 if he has health between 80% to 41%. If he has health between 40% to 11%, he will be in his phase 3. And finally, he will be in his phase 4 if he has his health below 10%. Now let's break down each of his phase. So when he is in his phase 1, start by building 3 volatility charge. Like I said, you can build these by staying close to Bahamet. Now if you bring any champions who can purify debuff, you'll gain an extra volatility charge when you purify 1 debuff. So when he has 3 charges, bait his SP1. At the end of SP1, he'll throw a radiation blast. Then immediately throw your special into the radiation blast to gain a removal charge. Once you have a removal charge, knock him down using special or heavy attack to disable his armor and do damage. And he is in his phase 2. When he is in his phase 2, just like before, build 3 volatility charge, bait his SP1, and a gain removal charge. But unlike the last time, now you have to knock him down by reflecting back his radiation blast. Now you can reflect these back by parrying or charging a heavy to the radiation blast. Once his armor is down, you can do your damage. And just like that, he is in his phase 3. So when he is in his phase 3, it's the same process as before. The only difference is that now some of his radiation blasts turn into heat radiation, which is basically an orange color blast. Now if you see this, don't try to reflect it, just dex it. And for the regular green blasts, reflect it with parry to disable armor. And finally, he is into his last phase. So in this phase, you get a permanent removal charge. And in this phase, his armor can't be disabled just by reflecting a single radiation blast. Instead, you have to gradually reduce his armor by reflecting it multiple times. And every time he gets hit by the blast, his damage reduction is cut by 20% permanently. And when it reaches 0, you can finish him off with normal hits.